Hey guys, so I'm back to share a little update since my last recording on the ethics in the coaching industry and why I had been so quiet. It's been an actual crazy another week for me. In the past 5 days, I lost my brother-in-law, who was only 51 from unexpected reasons. And it's been crazy and trying to maneuver all of that. I think, to be honest, we're still all in shock. But we are moving through. My sister is just taking it one day at a time. And it really puts into perspective, what's really important in life, and I think that's as shocking as that all has been in this past week of losing somebody that you just weren't expecting to lose. And that up until that moment, you didn't know that anything was even wrong. It really puts into perspective what is important in life. And, I came to record this as an update as to things that are going on in the coaching industry and where I'm at and all those kinds of things. But I actually want to talk about this first. And that is really understanding what is important in life. And I think I know for so long for myself, and it just comes from society and from conditioning and just from not knowing any better. The things that were so important to me were money and status and, being somebody in this space in the world. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with those kind of desires, but those things don't matter when you don't have your health, whether it's your physical health or your mental health. Those things don't matter because all that matters is your health. And when you lose somebody, you would give up all the status, all the money, all the everything just to have that person back. So it really puts into perspective, a lot of us, myself included, have put so much time and energy and, whatever into trying to make something like that happen, to have the status, to have the success, to have the bag, to have the car, to have the things. And it really, at the end of the day, doesn't matter if you don't have your health. If you don't have your mental health, if you don't have your physical health. I feel like the universe is really showing me that. It's like I made this decision not too long ago to really let go of all of those things. After somebody who has, worked really, really hard in her career, in all my careers, but, specifically as being an online coach and using the online space to market myself and, really try and, make a difference and, help people, but also make some money and be well known in the industry and all of those things. It led me to physically burn out, mentally and physically. And it's also had me, to the point where not too long ago, I, much like I said in my last podcast episode, started to question everything in my life. Like, what am I really doing? Like, what do I want to create? What am I here to do? What actually brings me joy? What actually is fulfilling for me? What am I doing just because I'm trying to be successful? And do I really want to do those things? And then with my, brother-in-law passing away last week, it really just kind of brought all that stuff like right to the surface to be like, this is my life. Like, I only get one of these. You only have one chance at this particular life you're in right now. And it's like, what do I really want to do? How do I really want to feel? What's really important to me? And it's not any of the things that I thought up until not too long ago. Sure, I love having money because money gives me choice and it gives me freedom to do the things I need to do. And money is, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying we need to live poor and be poor and happy. I'm saying we can be happy and have money. But when money is the driving force for everything you do, one, when you get the money, you're going to realize that the money isn't actually the thing that's making you happy. When you live off of just that success and external factors, outside factors, money, fame, things, when you live for those things as your driving force for being quote unquote happy, when you have all of those things, you realize that doesn't make you happy. You are the one who makes you happy. You are the one who is it's feeling good about what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. It's about living like the way that you want to live, the things that make you feel good. And I think a lot of times we think the external factors are the things that are going to make us feel good, which is why we work so hard and push ourselves. And it's why we end up getting burnt out. But when you get those things, you realize, like I said, those things aren't the things that are actually driving your happiness. It's relationships, it's friendships, it's spending time doing things that light you up and bring you joy. It's why I started painting. I started painting again because I was so burnt out trying to make this success happen in my business, and it wasn't working. And so I was like at a point where I was about to crack, not to mention dealing with perimenopause and ADHD and all of these things, that I started painting. And I've realized that painting brings me joy. Like having paint in a canvas and color and music playing, that actually brings me a hell of a lot of joy and fulfillment. And when I create a piece, it feels really good, whether someone buys it or not. It doesn't even matter. It just brings me joy to be able to make the paint move around on the canvas and create different things. That actually brings me joy. And right now it doesn't pay the bills, but I'm doing it anyways because of how it makes me feel. And so what that's also done is help me realize what's important in my life. And as much as I do love my business and I do love working with clients and helping them build their business, I love talking about strategies. I love problem solving. I love helping people figure out the technologies. I love creating. I'm a graphic designer. That's what I did for many years before I moved into online business coaching. So I love the creation, which explains why I like to create art as well. I love creating things, and helping my clients create those things has always been something that has, been good for me. But where things started to fall apart for me and my business, and this connects back into when we talk about the ethical marketing, is this whole online marketing of pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing yourself to show up and do the things and say this and learn that and use this tactic and do all of these things to try and sell yourself. And then when you don't get the results that you want, then you're like, it's just like a constant cycle of trying to do, but never really getting ahead. And that's not the case for everyone. There's lots of people who are doing and creating that success. And a lot of people would look at me and think that I'm a success. And sure, I am. I've created a 6-figure coaching business. I'm proud of that. But it was like, that wasn't good enough. It was never good enough. I always wanted more. Well, it's like, okay, well, I've done that, but now I need more. Now I need to get to the next level, the next level, the next level. And I know as humans, we are meant to grow and evolve. It's just growing and evolving in the way that is actually going to bring fulfillment, not growing and evolving in a way that proves to the world that you're somebody. And those are two different things. And I think that I just said that for the first time, that is so pivotal. For many years, I was growing and evolving to try and prove to the world I was somebody. And that led me to burnout. It led me to resentment in a lot of things, instead of looking at how can I grow and evolve as a human who is feeling more and more fulfilled in my life. And that comes from, for me right now, I've been on a major exercise thing. I've been painting more. I've been worrying less about stuff and things and spending more time with family and doing things that are more meaningful, being in nature more, being outside more, just following the things that light me up versus following the things that I feel like I have to do in order to be somebody. Big difference. So as an update to kind of where I'm at, it's like the last few weeks, minus everything that's happened with my brother-in-law, because that's still ongoing right now. But I have been taking a step back to try and figure out what does it look like for me to move forward in a way that's ethical, in a way that feels good to me and feels fulfilling to me, that still supports my clients. and allows me to be creative and support people in that way, but then also gives me space and time to do the things like the art that fills my soul and create this new path of going forward that allows me to have all of those things in my life. So the first thing is I've been doing some research and learning on ethical marketing, and I'm just starting this process. I have a really great interview that I'm going to be doing with Jillian Murphy. I've spoken about her on the last podcast, talking about ethical sales and marketing. We're going to be doing a podcast episode together. I'm also bringing her in to speak to my client attractor clients on Wednesday to talk about ethics and how to market yourself. She's a sales coach, so I'm really excited to do that. So I'll be sharing that podcast episode with you once we get it recorded in the next week or so. So I'm learning. That's the first thing I'm doing, is learning and just not taking a step back and not trying to force anything, because that's the old way that I used to be. I used to be like, I need to make money. I need to do something. I need to create a course. I need to create a masterclass. I need to create something in order to move forward, in order to find clients. Like that was always, it was like not hustling, but hustling. It was like, I was somebody who, and I mean, it is part of my nature to just kind of be constantly moving. I think that's part of the ADHD in me and stuff. I'm just constantly thinking and moving, but I was always, the deep rooted feelings that were moving me was, I need to make money. I need to show up. I need to be somebody. I need people to know that I exist. If I stop doing those things, then I won't be seen and my business will fail. And I, for the longest time, just was in that space of, I can't stop showing up. And so in order for me to learn and to properly move forward in my business, I actually have to stop, like really have to stop. Like I haven't sold anything. I haven't marketed anything to anyone in the last few weeks. I've been working with the clients that I currently have. I've been, sharing what I'm learning with them. I am going to be making changes to my programs and things moving forward. I'm still kind of figuring out what that looks like. But in the learning phase, I just can't be, for me personally, I just can't be selling something that I need to actually even revisit and look at what needs to shift in that. So I've just really stopped doing anything and really just focused on learning more and just feeling through what feels right to me about my business and how do I want to move forward. Which brings me to the second thing that I've been doing is really looking at my current offers and looking at ways that I can restructure these offers and the way that I support new entrepreneurs in the space. So my big thing is I help new online entrepreneurs, specifically coaches that have a skill set that want to start an online business. I give them that fundamentals, the fundamental foundation, basically, for starting an online business, like how to get your social media set up, how to figure out who your ideal clients are, how to, really know and understand your niche, and how to even create a program, how to map it all out, how to strategically go through that. Then how to market yourself using social media. So there's some of the things in that space have to change for me, because I have taught things like FOMO and how to create sales using urgency and things like that. So some of that stuff definitely needs to change. But a lot of what I teach is still foundationally the same. It's an ethical way to build your business. You need to have these certain things for sure in place in order to be able to get online and be able to share your skills and talents with people. So a lot of what I teach isn't going to change. There's just some things that need to shift. But the thing with my program right now is that it costs $2,222 in order to join the client attractor for 12 weeks, which I do think is fair pricing. But I also know that not everybody can afford that kind of pricing, especially as new entrepreneurs. Oftentimes you're coming to the table with not a lot of extra resources. And so I am actually, the second thing that I'm doing right now is just looking at a way that I can structure my business and make it affordable for anyone and everyone who wants to start an online business to be able to access some coaching from me, some information, and all that kind of stuff. So I am looking at shifting my business more to a membership style where people can come in, be a part of the membership for as long as they want, stay as long as they want, leave whenever they're ready, and create a space that's a lot more flexible, not only financially, but time-wise, because a lot of times this is what happens with coaches. And this is how this is how I was taught. And this is how I used to teach it, is that you create a high ticket program container. People pay to be in this container. Once they pay, they're in there for that set amount of time. Technically, they can't leave based on the contract. If they want to leave early, a lot of times coaches will hold them to those contracts and make them pay. I've never done that. I've had people leave my contracts early and I've let them go. They refuse to do that because you signed the contract. You know what? I get it. Like, people change, things change. If someone wants to leave in my space, I want to make it easy for them to be able to do that. Where a lot of times coaches don't. And it's unfortunate because people's lives change. People, their financial situations change. Sure, I get that contracts need to be in place because there are people who do take advantage of those things. But I think as a human to human business, we have to be able to have flexibility in those spaces because not everybody's situation is the same. And I don't think that if someone's coming to you and saying that they can't afford your product, they can't afford to be in it, or they've changed their life around and this is something that they're just not aligned with anymore, that just because they signed a contract, I think that it's not fair to hold somebody to that when they've had a life change or if it's not aligned for them anymore. And I know that gets fuzzy because it's like, well, what about the people who are taking advantage? I just think that keeping and holding people to something they don't want to be in anymore is not good business. And I think that it puts stress on people that is not necessary, and so on and so forth. Anywho, I just think there's a way, there's got to be a way we can do it. There's got to be a way that we can still support people, but let people go when they're not aligned with it anymore. And so that's how I want to be anyways. Just saying. So there's that. So I'm restructuring and looking at how I can continue to support new online entrepreneurs and bring them into the online space, teach them ethical practices, teach them the foundations of building their business, teach them the strategies and the technologies, and also make it easy for everyone to be able to access. So that's something that I'm also currently working on. I think the just third thing that I'm working on is just continuing to educate myself on ethical practices and also highlighting unethical practices, because the unethical practices that I'm seeing in the industry, which I talked about in my last episode, just a few of them, like I just scratched the surface on that. If someone hadn't have made me aware of those practices, I wouldn't have known that I was doing some of those things. And so some people might not agree with everything that I'm sharing that I feel are unethical practices in coaching. And that's fine. Everybody's opinions are their own. But if I can help someone realize that they're doing something that maybe is unethical, because here's the thing, I think a lot of the coaches in the online space don't know that some of the things that they're doing are unethical, myself included. So if I can help be a voice that shares how we can move forward in ways that actually are ethical, then more people will be able to learn and make those changes, because the industry is in a space right now where I think we are going to start to see some of these ways that have been around for a long time just because there were no rules and people just didn't know better. I think we're starting to wake up to the things that are no longer working, or they're working for people, but they're not working in an ethical way. Like, I've, as some examples, people who use luxury goods to sell themselves and market themselves, like that is, to me, unethical because it is showing and promising something that not everybody's going to be able to achieve, right? Like not everybody is going to be able to do that, fly private jets and do all those things. Like we have to be thinking about not just the select few who might be able to create a result. We have to be thinking about everyone who, and how it, and also an unethical practice that I see is people who do create that kind of success. They do make that kind of money, but they aren't sharing the whole story of how they created that kind of money. Because the other thing is that not everybody that's coming to a coaching program is coming to the program with the same privileges, right? So some people are coming with money that, they have or have had, And that's one person. Someone's coming to the table with absolutely nothing and is desperately trying to make change in their life. Someone else is coming to the table with a huge following from another industry. And, so it's never really an even playing field. And I realize that as coaches, we can't, we're not always going to be able to, not everybody's going to have the same results in our businesses. And I think that's another unethical practice that people do, is they talk about results and how they can help people achieve certain results. But that certainty it's never, if someone's promising certain results, that's a huge red flag, because not everybody's coming to the table with the same skill sets and the same mindset, the same values, the same anything. So nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. So, as somebody who's looking at joining a coaching program that's guaranteeing results, to me, that is a red flag that I would really look into. Ask questions. How many people have achieved that result? How many people have you had run through this program? What are the percentages of people who've actually achieved that? Things like that. Asking for testimonials, asking for clients who have been through the programs to get their personal testimonials, that kind of thing, to help you really make that educated decision on whether this is for you or not. Some other unethical things that coaches are doing is pressuring people to invest. You got to invest in yourself in order to be successful, with no pain, no gain. I had a coach once tell me that you need to back yourself into a corner, because that pressure is what's going to make you, do the things you need to do in order to be successful. And unfortunately, a lot of people get screwed with that, because they get backed into a corner so much so that they can't pay their rent, or they can't pay their mortgage, or they've got kids and they got to pay for groceries, and they back themselves so far into a corner that they're really struggling. And that's really hard on their nervous system. You don't make good decisions when you're in a high stress situation. So for coaches who are preaching that kind of message, that is unfortunately hurting more people than it is helping people. And I'm not saying I'm not guilty of these things. I have used some of those same practices in my business, which is why I am making these changes. It's why I'm learning. It's why I'm adjusting. It's why I've been taking a step back and looking at the whole big picture of what's going on in the marketplace, in this industry, what's right, what's wrong. And there's nobody that's really saying this is right, this is wrong. It's not a black or white situation. It is a very fuzzy gray space. And so I am learning, and then I'm taking in and deciphering for myself what I feel is right and wrong. I don't know that I obviously, I'm just one person and one opinion. But I do think that by even just doing this work and looking into it, you're uncovering things that you can, your gut will tell you, what's right or what's wrong. Right. So I don't have, what I'm basically saying is I'm not somebody who is a for sure, yes, this is the answer. This is right. This is wrong. I'm just saying I am looking at both sides of everything and deciding for myself what feels right and wrong to me, and moving forward in that space. And, that's the best we can do. And I'm sure that there are coaches out there who are using a lot of these unethical practices that feel like it's right for them too. And yet it's not. So it's like I say, it's a very kind of gray space right now of how we move this industry forward in a way that is ethical. And there are some things that I do feel are maybe a little bit more black and white. There's an account, actually, I'm going to tell you this account that I've been following, and I'm really liking her stuff, and I'm going to give her a shout out because I've learned a lot from her. And her account is Ash Rising. It's Ash Riley is her name. And she's on Instagram as ASHRISING, Ash Rising. And she has some really great posts. She has one on her Instagram, if you go there, and it says ethical business right on the top. That was a really great post that taught me a lot of things that I was like, oh, geez, yeah, absolutely. So she's got a lot of great information. So this is the kind of thing, right? Like we have to learn, and then we have to decipher what we feel is, right and wrong. Because some of the things that I've learned or some of the things I've seen about unethical coaching, I don't always agree with. Some people I see are jumping on a bandwagon, I would say, of like this unethical coaching space, which is not what I'm trying to do at all. I'm just telling you how it's really going, which is this podcast, which is why this is like all over the place, because I literally feel all over the place right now. It's like, last week, obviously I was dealing with a lot of family stuff, and that's still happening, which really did, kind of take me right out of the game. But I've been out of the marketing space for probably almost 4 weeks now. And I am starting to feel this like itch to come back in. And, I really do want to find a way to support people, but I just need to figure out what that looks like. I'm a huge Kajabi fan. I use Kajabi. I actually, for my clients who are making and creating courses and programs, I highly recommend Kajabi. It's the platform I've been using since 2018. I love everything that it does. It's full service, all the things. I am affiliated with Kajabi. I do make a commission off of Kajabi. When I ask people to look at Kajabi, they know that I'm an affiliate. I am an advocate for it truly because I truly believe it, but I do also make money from Kajabi when someone joins. And so that is something that I'm looking at because I'm looking at creating a community because Kajabi has a new community feature that allows for like a membership style community where people can come in, they can learn, they can be in your world for as long as they want to be, and then they can leave when they want. They can just turn it off. And keep it at a monthly membership price that's affordable for all people to learn. So that's one of the things that I'm looking at creating going forward and shifting my current program, which is right now $2,000, like $2,500 basically to get in. Because we do the payment plan, it's $2,400, which is another whole thing. Payment plans, should they be more? Shouldn't they be more? There are people who are saying that they shouldn't be more. They should be the same. And to be honest, I agree. And with the thought of if you do pay in full, you're going to get a bit of a discount because you are paying in full. And I appreciate the pay in full. And so I'm going to give you a couple $100 off. But then again, see what you're doing there is classing people. It's like, oh, the people who have the money who can pay in full, they get a discount. But if you don't, and you have to use the payment plan, well, you don't, right? So that does feel actually unethical when you actually say it out loud, right? So I want to get rid of that. I want to have it's just this much. It's this much, doesn't matter. It's this much every month. You can come in and stay for 1 month. You can leave after 1 month. You can stay for as long as you want. That's kind of what I'm looking at. So I tell you that because I lost my train of thought, but these are just some things that I am currently looking at and doing in my world. So more to come on that as I figure it out, but I have been getting this itch. That's what I was saying. I've been getting this itch to come back and be in the space. And I have been working with my current clients, which has been great. And they've been great as we've been talking through this stuff. But I am thinking about when their program ends, which is coming up shortly, if they want to stay in my world, how can I create something for them to stay in my world and get support, but that isn't going to cost them another $2,500, that they can just stay in month to month and continue to get support. So this is kind of the stuff, like this is all of the things that I'm kind of looking at right now. So, but also at the same time, looking at, how can I create space for me to do the things that I also really love to do, like art. And create some space in my week to not only support my coaching clients, but then also to be able to do the thing that fills me up, which is the other thing that fills me up, which is my art business. So it's a lot. It's a lot of things going on in my space, but that's just how it's really going. And this is how I feel. So stay tuned for more of the shifts that I'm making, to some of the other things that I'm learning about ethics and online coaching. I will continue to educate you as much as I can on the things that I'm learning. And then 3, for that podcast with Jillian Murphy that I'll be doing with her. We're recording it on Wednesday. I will be sharing that on here as soon as I have it. just about ethical marketing. And she is a sales coach for online entrepreneurs. So she is also somebody who is an advocate for ethical coaching. So I'm really excited to bring her to the podcast and talk about her beliefs on all of this stuff. And just start the conversation, like really just start this conversation, and no shame, no stories. We are all learning and developing and growing and figuring this out together. And it is, every day is a new day for us to be able to make a new choice. And so if you're learning about this for the first time and you're realizing that you've been doing some of these things, no shame, no stories. Today's a new day. We get to make a new choice. And so, how can we just move forward in a different way that's going to be better for the industry, not harboring and going back on the past and being like, oh, I don't want to spend too much time in that space of digging up all the shit. I just want to recognize that that's been happening and that now I want to make a change. And I hope that that is what I'm able to do for you here on this podcast, is just open your eyes to what I've been learning so that you can decide today to maybe do something different to help move this industry forward in the best ways possible. And that's it. So that's my 2 cents for today. Thank you guys so much for being here and listening. And I appreciate you guys. I've had a lot of comments on this topic since I've started sharing it, whether it was in the Facebook community, through the YouTube, through the podcast, just on my Instagram and my stories. I think that I know that more of you want to have this conversation. So I'm here for it. Let's figure it out together. All right, everyone, that's it for me. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.